Hello, hi, good evening. Okay, just a gentle warm-up welcome first before we get into the core content. Came in just about a minute earlier just to make sure that we can do all the sharings and all that, and to make sure that, of course, the audio and the visual are clear before I continue with the outlook for the very fast upcoming October Water Dog Month, okay? So if you're there, if you're watching this, well, say a little hello. We'd love to hear from you, and the more energy you give to us on these Facebook Lives, by showing your presence, by commenting, by, of course, sharing and liking, the more energy that we can create together, right? Especially for such an exciting last 2 months of the 2023 Water Rabbit year. Now, I actually say the last 2 months, but we have only last 2 months in my viewpoint now. Of course, we've got 4 more months before finishing off the Water Rabbit year itself, okay? So lots to share with you tonight, right? So if you're here watching right now, I know the counter is going up, right? Just drop me a little hello. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you just join, if you feel that this sort of information, right, for example, a monthly outlook, a monthly forecast is something that can benefit the people on your timeline, well, please do share it on your Facebook timeline as well. Okay, Felicia is the first one to say hello today. Hi, Felicia, thank you so much. Enjoying your little mid-autumn gift, the mooncakes. Just only, okay? Very, very nice. Thank you so much, Felicia. Hi, Angeline. Hi. Thanks for dropping a little shout out as well, yeah? Once again, if you can help me share this out, if you think that information like this, that is a monthly outlook based on Chinese astrology, is something that can benefit the people on your timeline, then please help me share, okay, on your Facebook. Okay, wow, that's nice. Thank you. Hi, Elaine. Hi, Li Ping as well. Hi, Jessie Fu. Haven't heard from you in a while, Jessie. Nice to hear from you. Well, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, and let's get started. So we are going to talk about the opportunities of this month, right, which is embedded in the Water Dog Month itself, right? So some of it is by arrangement, astrological alignment. It just so happens to give us this wonderful opportunity. Some of it is transitional, which means that, yes, we know that every dog month is a certain part of the year, right? Roughly about October 8th, about November 7th or so. But some of it also is very timely for this particular year itself, for this particular moment. So we've got some stars aligning astrological wise and so on and so forth. And some of it is like a hidden potential that you need to activate yourself. If not, then if you just flow with the forces themselves, the elements themselves, then you may not be able to pick up on the bigger, hidden, more, how to say, covert, not so obvious opportunities, okay? Hi as well to Shok Yi, to Chang Feng, hi bro, right? No Firos, good to have you. Sylvia is here as well, right? And let's get started, okay? So what's so special about the October Water Dog Month? Well, it is going or heading towards the closure of the main portions of the year where there's a lot of activation in relation to the Water Rabbit, or especially with the rabbit year itself. Okay, so we'll walk through these. So I'll just bring up my presentation material first, right, as always. Okay, all right, so we are at the last, okay, that's why things look a little bit strange today. Okay, we are at the last month of autumn. Okay, so this is actually the last month of autumn, where it is always just like the last month of other seasons, right? It is actually a transitional month into the following season, and it will always be characterized by an earth sign, an earth animal sign, right? So in this case, it's the dog that's going to wrap up the season of autumn. So, and the dog is very special, just like actually a lot of the other graveyard stars, storage stars, the earth animal signs. It is magical. When we truly can understand how to work with its energies, right? There's so much potential in it, especially for growth and elevation, because they are the checkpoint months. Okay, so more about that next. But in the meantime, of course, what is interesting about this autumn, which characterizes the exciting opportunity of the entire 2023, right, is that it is entirely pure chi of metal. So you see that in August itself, it's the full pure chi of yang metal, right, reflected or given as foundation strongly by the monkey. And then, of course, on top, protruding from it, it's the same main chi that's in the monkey, which is basically yang metal. And then moving into this month, which is currently ending, the Sin Yo, right, the metal rooster month is similar, but of course, the shifts to becoming yin metal, right? So the yin metal is once again pure, right, and protruding, right, from a pure yin metal or sin animal sign, because the rooster itself contains only yin metal. So that's why this month, you can say to some extent, one of the summaries of it is that it's even more powerful than last month, right? Because it's purely yin metal or sin only, right? This is a very, very good month for deep realizations, a lot of conclusions. If we practice mindfulness, if we practice collating information, gathering data, evidence, right, and doing an assessment and review. So with this, if we are also in tune, right, sort of just align mind, body, and spirit, then we're also able to tap into certain knowingness. Of course, it's triggered by a quest for research, to seek for answers, to seek for data, for example, right? But if we, of course, are more aligned, then we also have that antenna up, which is very strongly available this month, to tap into knowingness. That means you just get an instinct, right? You're guided by a voice, you're guided by some intuition, right? That makes sense of the research data and information they are seeking. So that is the current expiring Sin Yo Rooster month, right? So we've got a few more days because today is October 5th. So October 8th, right? We are going to transit into the Water Dog month. So we've got 2 more days effectively of this, right? Of course, we have overlapping now, right, in this particular transition itself, okay? So now, of course, we come to the end of the metal autumn period, where it's generally all about review, assessment. It's about fine-tuning, analysis, and final results. And then, of course, it's the extraction of what we have learned from it. It's the learning wisdom that we have gained, hopefully, from our existence and living life and experiencing life from all its perspectives, from things which are smooth to things which become a challenge and obstacle for us to overcome, right? And it's also where we can see results or karmic effects. So results, of course, is the more objective way of looking at things. So whatever that we seeded and started and grew, spring, for example, of 2023, maybe before that, right? So there are the results which show or don't show on the plate, right? But karmic actions also come in a full loop, which means that whatever that the ways that we have decided to lead our lives, base our actions and decisions on, right, which reflect, of course, our values as individual human beings, also have its karmic effects, right, by this sort of like autumn season. So we're talking about the current month that we're in, and the previous month as well, right? So this is where we then decide, do we continue, in a sense, maybe perhaps looping in a cycle that results in a certain result coming from a particular action, or do we not like it because it holds us back, it blocks our energy, it limits us, then we need to release that. So that's also part of the work of autumn itself. And when we come to this month, the Water Dog month, right, or dog months in general, okay, we have this task to do, which is basically to put it all into, I call it like a warehouse, but you can also call it a cauldron and so on, right? It depends on the opportunities of the year itself, the energy of the year. So it is where we put it into, either we discard it, okay, or we keep it, or we transform it, right? Transform it into something that is more usable, transform it into something that is more, that helps us grow as individual souls, or in the more 3D reality that we deal with day-to-day things, our day-to-day life, because a large theme of this year's autumn is about our rhythm of life, right? The routines and the habits that we set ourselves up to, and the sort of day-to-day sensory experience, right, of our 5 senses. That means when I live my life, my day is like this, okay? So whatever, right? And it's very different for different people living different sort of lifestyles, right? But it's a sensory experience of the 5 senses, okay? The sight, the smell, the taste, and so on, right? That it's also looped into our creation of our, or rather the energy of our day-to-day life, right? So life rhythm is one key part of this year's autumn analysis, assessment, a relook into and how we want to basically move forward, right, to break out of a life rhythm that doesn't suit our growth, right? Looping around doing the same thing over and over again and things like that. Where is it in that part that we want to change so that we can create a rhythm that's slightly different, right? Or very different, depends on your level of transformation needed for your elevation of yourself, okay? So this month, the dog month, right, allows us to do that, allows us to filter, to discard, and most importantly, but okay, one more is to keep. Because whatever that is a result that is showing and it's valuable and the results are there, then we, of course, you want to keep it as well. So we don't have to get rid of everything. As much as the water dog contains a very vast potential of transformation. But we don't need to transform everything, right? So there are some results where they show and they prove themselves, right? So this we keep so that we can start the cycle over again, right? So a simple way to look into this is like the more on the work perspective, right? Targets, for example, projects, and so on, right? It's similar to that as well. Whatever projects that work, whatever sort of business model that works, for example, you just want to maintain it because it's shown, proven, profitable, high yielding, excellent, whatever you call it, results. So you just keep it, keep the gist of whatever that's been reaped, right, and harvested and distilled, and then you start the cycle over again from the late winter onwards now when the new year starts. And of course, the new year this time around has tremendous significance because we are also starting a brand new 20-year or period 9, right, with the Jia Chen, with the wood dragon itself. And the other perspective is that the wood dragon is also coming in early, right, by winter solstice. In fact, we are already going to feel its effects by early December also, okay? So Sunita says, so true, I started this, great to hear this validation, okay? Right, and whoever else, right? I hope that you're entrenched within the energies of autumn and how powerful the autumn season is. That, of course, right now will be ending with the water dog month itself, okay? So this one on its overt stage, getting to the month itself, we will just look at the contents. What is contained in the water dog month, right? So we have the elements of yang water that's protruding up on top, so that's obvious, right? And then the dog month that I was saying, right, is a graveyard, it's a storage as well. Why? Because the shell of it, the capsule of the sheep or the dog is actually Wu Earth, which is basically Yang Earth, right? But within it, it contains, of course, as a storage of Yin fire, right? Now, in the basic sense, right? So the dog is a storage of Yin fire or Ting or fire in general. That means it holds it, it contains it so that it's kept over winter and then it can emerge again from spring onwards. That's the technical, one basic common understanding of what is contained in the dog, okay? And then the other element that's in it is yin metal, sin metal, okay? And so this one has to do with the ending of autumn. So this is where we are keeping it. Whatever sin metal, which is basically reflective of these lessons, wisdom, the extract, the essential oils, you can call it, right? Or the gems, the seeds, all of this, right? These are all sin metal that you keep because it's a storage, right? It's a graveyard because it's an ending because we're coming to the end of autumn. So you hold it so that you can start to, you use it as a potential. You use it as a starter. It's like Alan and all that who do sourdough or whoever who does baking, right? You need a starter, kombucha and all that, so that then you can actually produce more, right? So that is your sin. So you also keep it. By its nature, you see this capacity of the dog animal sign, right? But of course, then it will interact and all that, and it will become different. There are variations of the energy that comes up. But what is obvious here, of course, you will be like, oh, it's water on top, because it's clearly yang water, okay, that is on top of the animal sign. So water, right? So that becomes part of the energy that is related to the energy of the season, because now as we move clearly towards the end of autumn into then, of course, the following month in November onwards, right? It will be winter season. So, of course, the water becomes like, oh, water's protruding, it's obvious, and it should be quite strong, and it is quite strong, okay? And it will get stronger as we go into November onwards, yeah? But now that we stack it up with the water rabbit, so whenever we look into a month, my opinion is that we really always need to connect it if we want to look into the strongest energy that is at the particular moment. We always have to connect it back to Tai Sui, which is the year itself. If you look into the month itself, of course, by the elements and how they interact with each other, the picture of forecasting using astrology or Bazi is that. That means what happens, what's likely going to happen and everything. But if you look into the major energy that's a result, then of course you have to overlay and connect it back to Tai Sui, which is basically water rabbit, because it's the strongest energy for the entire year overall, right? So now the water of the water rabbit, of course, makes it double water, right? So there's Kuei water, okay, and then there is also Ren water. So that's why, oh, okay, now it's even more obvious there's water on top, okay? But what is important to keep in mind is that the sheet, the dog month, is the warehouse storage slash cauldron, whatever you call it. It does all of these function, right? For every single year. Every year, the October month is roughly the same. But then this year, it interacts with its 6 harmony combo partner, which is basically Mao, okay? And it is strongest correlation for the entire year. It's a combination. It's part of 6 pairings of 1-to-1 combination that we call 6 harmony combination, and this is very significant because it can be October in any year, but this year is the rabbit year, okay, which means again there is a large alarm towards transformation, because the dog is the only animal sign, okay, that has 2 potential for us to completely transform to fire. And fire combination is burning, yes, it burns wood, but it's also transformation on its whole, because fire is the only element that can transform any state of the energy of any energy, any element. So it's very powerful. Okay, so this month is really like how I've titled it, right? The last chance for any of us to transform something that we do not want, so that we elevate its energy, we lighten it, right? Or we can let go of it, completely let it go and burn it and disintegrate it, so that we can allow new energy to come in. Okay, so that's why please use this month very wisely to see which area of your life, right, that needs this. Now, of course, you might then ask me, okay, Kong Yu, but Shi Mao, okay, it's a fire combination, right? But there's so much water that's on top and obviously against it. Yeah, okay, which is true. That means overt. That means if we do not dig deeper, right, it will be water that is on top, which means that it will be dominant. It's quite strong by its season already. It is strong by its season, right? It's obvious. That means if we just flow and we're not aware, then we will just feel the effects of water. And water, of course, is going to be against fire, which is basically the element of transformation, right? So that's why if we're not looking far enough, we are too short-sighted, and if we're not looking deeper enough, then we would just bypass it. It means people who are not in astrology will not spot these opportunities. But you, of course, you follow, what we do, what Jessie does, and so on and so forth, right? You have a leg up. You have a more of an opportunity here to realize this power of transformation. If not, it will just be whatever water means. Whatever water means, you will follow it. Okay. And let me get to that in a few moments. But I want to share with you why, even within the month itself, there is potential heat. Now, of course, it has to be activated. Why? Because if we just look back into Ren Shi itself, right, it is basically Ren water and the dog. But if we look into the potential that's hidden with it, because there's always going to be the yin with the yang. So the yang pillar is the water dog, but the yin pillar that attracts as a shadow all the time is together is basically fire rabbit. Okay, why? Because Ren water combines with Ting, fire, okay, and it's a woody combination. It likes to produce the element of wood, and then of course we know, as I've already been saying, and if you're a practitioner, you also know this by heart, right? The Shi and the Mao, with the dog and the rabbit combine together to want to produce fire in the transformation process, burning the wood and then transforming the whatever elements which are in the dog itself, right? The yang earth, the yin fire, which is the seed of the fire itself, that's involved in the combustion, and then there is the sin metal that is also melted or reshaped, whatever you call it. Okay, so there's the potential that's there already. Then the fact that we just need a yin fire to basically have the opportunity to transform the Ren water into its wood, so that it can collectively encourage the fire to burn. But now that we stack it on top with the water rabbit itself, remember I was saying that whatever it is, you still have to anchor it towards what Tai Sui does, because the Tai Sui makes every month of each year different. Just like when we have the wood dragon coming in from December onwards, right? And then of course the actual effect will be, of course, from February onwards when it comes to the detailed calculations, but we have to take into account the early arrival of its energy, right? But whatever it is, then we have to take into account the wood dragon in 2024 when we talk about the months of 2024. So now same thing, right? When we talk about the water dog animal sign, we have to correlate it, of course, to the water rabbit itself. And yes, on top you see ren water and yin water, both ren and kui, which is water on top. Okay, how is that going to encourage fire? But if we look deeper into all the hidden stems, which are basically the 5 element yin yang in the animal signs itself, then we see that, okay, there is that yin fire, which characterizes the cauldron quality of the sheep or the dog, right? So that has an opportunity to combine by itself with the ren water that's on top of it. Then at the same time, the wu earth, which is basically the main chi, the capsule, the container that is the dog animal sign, is in a combination relationship with kui. It just happens to be like that because the year is like that. So in this, it has an opportunity to combust, to burn, because wu kui is a combustion, right? And then of course the she animal sign as a capsule is already the main energy that or that's triggered by the month in this year is combustion, right? She and Mao coming together to produce fire. So that's why there is, some people would call it hidden fire lah. Of course, the hidden fire is Ting, but there's more to that meets the eye, right? Which means by virtue of this sheep month occurring in the Mao rabbit year, occurring in these circumstances with these two water heavenly stems that we see up there, right, gives us a hidden opportunity for a last minute transformation opportunity for whatever that we want to do, whatever we want to transform, so that we, again, the whole theme is what? To welcome, to get ready for period 9, which starts early with the Jia Chen, or specifically with the Jia Zi, upcoming December month itself, yeah? So I hope you're able to follow that. So the key is this: if we are in tune, then we know that the water can be a threat to the fire transformation, which means that if you want to transform, you will feel that you might have some challenges that's brought on by the water being so obvious and strong at this particular point of the year, right? And what is water to you? Well, it depends on your day master, right? So for example, if you're a water person, kui or ren yourself, according to your bazi, then it will be some sort of influence of other people. So it could be your partners, it could be your collaboration people that you JV with, it could be your colleagues and so on. So if you are just swept away amongst them, then you will not see or feel a need to transform. But maybe you do, right? And this is very individual, right? What is it that you need to change up in the habits of your life, in the values that you own? And of course, we get more details when we look into the other energies, especially the energy of influencing the eclipses. So that's another key one that we'll get to in a moment, right? The fact that this month is occurring with the eclipse, which happens twice a year, right? Plus minus, is again very telling of the opportunity of transformation, okay? Because the solar eclipse especially gives us that opportunity once every 6 months or so, right? So that's why this is a month to really capture this so that you do not miss it, right? But again, water can be the element that basically, obviously, it does not encourage the transformation, right? It discourages it because water puts out fire. Because fire is the transformation quality, the energy, and then water is directly against it. And water is overtly, outwardly strong up in the year, meeting the month. Okay, so if you are, for example, a wood person, okay? So if you're a wood person, then water becomes your resource. Okay, resource means the energy that basically makes you feel safe. Okay, it makes you feel taken care of, right? It's the nurturing motherly quality, for example. So due to playing safe, feeling safe, and fear issues, because water is directly also the element of fear, right? So this can be blocking your transformation if you are a wood person, okay? And then if you're an earth person, water is basically wealth to you. So it could be literally money. Because of money, because of the paycheck, because of the current cash flow that you enjoy from your current lifestyle, you might be pushing away an opportunity to change and upgrade for the better. Now, water to earth, wu earth, and also to earth is also the element of wealth, right? Which also means control of, being in charge, being in control of. So due to your own nature, because you don't want to let go and you want to again have that sense of power, right, over things, right? So you might not want to change or transform. So that's the challenge if you're an earth person, right? If you're a metal person, then water is your output. And metal water is very fast, right? So which means that it could be the ease of how you do things. It could be the style that you do things, in a way, the speed, the impatience as well, that causes you to miss or overlook the opportunity for transformation, okay? And then if you are a water person, I already got that. So we've gone through the whole entire cycle, right? What if you are a water person, if you're wood, if you're earth, or fire, okay? So if you are a fire person, then water is what puts you out, okay? Or potentially gives you what? Pressure and stress. So it could be your obligations, it could be your responsibilities overall. So if you're still having a job and it's got a lot of deliverables, right? You might just like, there's no point in changing this because this is what I need to deliver. I have no time to look into it. All these excuses basically that the ego and the mind comes up from, it will block you from your actual transformation itself, okay? So that's what the potential water, which is clear and obvious in the month and also the year, can do to block any of your opportunity that you can take to transform. So take note of that, okay? I just thought of sharing that with you as well since we are on this particular part of the outlook, okay? So now, this month that starts on October 8th starts on a remove day, which is basically, again, it will be overlapping, ending the previous month, right? The previous month will be a remove day that ends the month as well, which means that the day before, October 7th, is a remove day, but it belongs to the metal rooster, okay? But the starting point of the month itself is interesting, and I look at it as well because it then gives you a tone as to what energy it can support, just like a starting point of a year supports the entire year itself, correct? So in this case, the remove day is a day that of course is suitable when you want to remove something lah. Okay, so it works very well with change as well because normally you want to change, you have to get rid of something so that something new can come in, right? And then of course because of the stars which are present on October 8 itself, right, which is basically the traveling horse, which is about movement and growth, right, literally, and also in terms of just energy lah, that is new, okay? And the three combination, the annual pillar basically encourage building, right, establishing a structure and so on. So that's why if you combine together, the energy of the day does support, okay, if we want to use the energy of transformation of the month, right, basically to remove something, to let go. Again, you need to do that if you want to transform, right? Transform some element, some aspect of your life. And especially we are looking at it, at having that transformation to grow, that means to elevate, to expand and so on, right? Move on to the next phase. It helps it. And at the same time, we also know that this can serve us a good opportunity to build something that's longer term, because that's what we need, structural support and foundation, right? When we want to have something that's more permanent, okay? A quick hi to Huey, Amy, and also Janice and Rebecca. A quick hi there. Okay, in fact, let me just quickly check this as well while we're at it before I get to the next page so that I can just say hello to people here as well. Hi, Alan. Okay, who's tuning in from the Kongyu page, right? Lychee as well. Hi. Always good to have you here. Good evening to you as well, yeah? So, first day encourages it, the month, the opportunities within the month itself. So, now I'm going to cross-reference some key points from Western astrology, and the more I actually cross-reference it, the more it is astounding to me as a researcher slash a consultant and also a technical person when it comes to all things metaphysics. So we see Scorpio is the month of the year that's tied in roughly to the dog animal sign, because just like the dog animal sign, the sheep, the Mao, the whatever it is, right, in Chinese astrology, it is a certain part of the year, the solar calendar one, it will be always roughly plus minus around the same time. So same thing, when we talk about Western horoscopes, right, they also transit in the middle of the Chinese animal sign one. Okay, so Scorpio is a sign is associated, yes, with transformation. That's why it's so correlated to the dog, right? At the October 22nd, 23rd time frame, right? So now the sun means the day to day lah. So when we move from today, October 5th, to tomorrow, October 6th, so that's the sun, right? The progress of the earth in relation to the orbit around the sun. So the sun is in Libra, means right now we're in Libra season, no? Okay? So that's a given because we're just at this part of the year, right? But at the same time, when we see convergence of other influential planets that govern different aspects of our energy, like Mars, for example, right? Mars is already in Scorpio at the moment. It will, sorry, it's not there yet. It's in Libra, which is where the Sun is at the moment. So together they're moving, right? Then it will transit into Scorpio before the Sun itself, right? So Sun sign will move only when we move into Libra season, which is October 22nd, 23rd. But the Mars is already going to be ahead from October 12th onwards in this transformational sign of Scorpio. Then we currently, again, we have Mercury traveling with Mars and the Sun, okay, slightly behind it. Then it will transit into Scorpio roughly when we move into Scorpio season. So that's very telling, which means that these three, one is of course our soul path, which is governed by the Sun. Then Mars is our individual will, personal will, which is our fire that we have, right? And then Mercury is the how-tos. What is the day-to-day connections? What do we think of? How do we use our mental power to achieve and to guide us and so on? So all of that is moving roughly together. Now, it can be anywhere at any point during the year, okay? Except for the Sun, of course, right? But Mars and Mercury are transiting and moving together with the Sun, okay? And then generally there is Saturn retrograde in Pisces, which has been happening for some months now. And it's all about crafting something that is a structure that we need. That means how we use our energy at the highest, most longest term level. That is what Saturn is all about. So that's why careers take a long time to build, right? Our skill sets to get to the top of our game, we need a long time. Generally, we talk about the concept of time, right? To develop. So all of this has to do with Saturn, and of course the ruler of Saturn is Capricorn. Okay? Or rather, the king or the main energy in the Capricorn is Saturn planet itself. So that's why we have to look at this together, right? So Saturn being in Pisces is all about the depths, the deepest part of our psyche, right? How we feel the interconnectedness between us and in fact everything in the universe. That's about the star sign of Pisces, which is the depths of our psyche and so on, right? It's associated with the planet Neptune, which again with Uranus, because they're so far out there, they're our consciousness, right? They are not, you can't touch it maybe, but it's certainly anchoring us down as human beings. So that's why it's all about creating a meaningful future ahead. That's the underlying depth of the energy, and it's working of course with the Pluto, which is the planet of transformation itself, related to Scorpio, the season that we're in, right? And they're both of course in the sign of Capricorn, which is related to Saturn, which is about long-term big structures which take a lot of effort. Maybe we shouldn't use the word time because time is relative, right? It can be instantaneous in period 9, right? Those of you who are in Tune Up for Magic, but we maybe shift the word and use, it takes a lot of effort and energy to get into. And that is building ahead after the transformation and the depth of transformation that affects us all, because these two signs are big and deep, if I can just simplify it, right? Which means whatever they've undergone in recent past, which of course can be closely tied to the pandemic, 2020 thereabouts and so on, yeah? And then on a smaller scale, right, just to give you the picture here, right? So we have the planet Venus, which is about the feminine, which is about the relationship, which is about air energy, which is about love, right? Of our unconditional love and so on, right? So that's been moving in Virgo, right? From October 9th, it will be from October 9th onwards for about 3 weeks there, for the rest of the sheep month, the dog month, right? And this is all about rhythm of life. Virgo is very much tied into the rhythm of life. It was the previous season that we were in, right? In terms of the sun. And Venus in it gives it that quality of evaluation because it's air, it's metal energy, right? So that's why if you put it together, right, on the smaller scale, we have the evaluation energy still there. On the bigger macro perspective, okay, we have this building structure sort of a thing, right? Especially if we want something that's more, if we want to live more meaningfully, then we have to work towards it, we have to change towards it, and we have to build towards it. This is the sort of middle level energy that we're talking about. And then the strongest one is the transformation cauldron that's available now due to all of this. What is it that we need to get rid of? What do we need to disintegrate? What is it that we need to up level, right? What negativity, stuck energy, stagnation that we need to get rid of? All of this we also need to, right, burn away. We need to transform it so that we can free up that energy and it can go somewhere else, especially from November onwards. Okay, we'll come to November next because a lot of growth energy in November itself. Yeah, but now the reason why October is so important as a cauldron, because the eclipses are here. The eclipses can be anywhere else, but they choose to be smack in October itself. Very powerful sign. Okay. Now we know that the solar eclipse, okay, is where the new moon is, right? But the difference is that a solar eclipse is the intensified new moon. New moons are associated with new starts, resetting. New moons are more associated with new starts, but eclipses, solar eclipses, are more associated with resetting, because it's like you're in the good, it's the power button, right? It's the power button that we reach for when we need to reboot our smartwatch or reboot our phones and computers and iPads and so on, right? This is the opportunity to do so. So here it is on October 14 in the Western countries and October 15 out more towards the eastern side, including us in Malaysia, right? I think the eclipse peaks at about, is it 4 to 4 a.m., something like that, okay? This is an annular solar eclipse, which means that it will leave a ring of fire around the moon, okay, during that peak time, right? And this one is interesting as well because this is the first. Every eclipse period is an 18-month time frame, right? In terms of the astrology, of course, there are a few levels to look at it, but one of it is that, right? Every 18 months there's a theme to the eclipses and what new starts and heightened awareness they allow us. And this one is the starting of a new 18-month cycle, so it's even more important. So the theme of starting and reset, and it's all about this whole 18-month period starting from this eclipse, personal empowerment, right? How clear are we and how empowered are we to move in our individual selves and be capable enough and to be strong-willed enough so that we can push whatever it is that we need to push for our own self, right? Including transformation, for example. So that's how the theme is related to, in relation to how secure we feel as people in relating to the world, in relating to other people, in relating to other people's skills, talents, and other characteristics. So this is where the search for autonomy and personal empowerment is. So it starts with this eclipse for October 14, 15. Yeah. Now, if you get to the another theme that is just solely focused on this eclipse out of the 18-month period of eclipses that we're having for the solar partner, the solar perspective, right? This is about evaluating values. Again, a big and task that we've been given for quite some time now. Then, of course, the relationship dynamics reflecting these values. And in recent months, right, it's about the rhythm of life. What sort of lifestyle that we want, right? Are you bored? Are you tired? Or have you shaken yourself out of stagnation, right? Because if you loop yourself up in the lifestyle that repeats itself Monday through Friday, that creates a rhythm of life, and it is never a good thing. In fact, it's hell on earth, right? If we loop and never grow out of the loop for X number of years. It could be, for some people, the whole entire adult life. For some people, it could be half of their career life. For some people, it could be for the past 5 years or whatever, right? There is no growth in that. So now is the chance to, with this eclipse, the solar boost here, the power reset button that we can press, to develop a new life rhythm, to change it up. It supports that from the more micro perspective of this eclipse, okay? So now let's take a look at the path of this eclipse, right? You're welcome, Margaret. It's good to have you here, right? So this is the path of it. You see the zone that is covered by the yellow portions here. This looks like a what do you call it? Sunny side up. And then after it spreads out, okay? So of course the part that's darker is where the core of the eclipse is, right? And then the lighter part is the zone of the eclipse that is not the core itself. So you see, it literally sweeps so beautifully across the North America, Canada, and towards America, USA, and then it kind of drifts down towards the Middle Americas, right, and then into the top part of South America, right? In fact, it gets quite low, right, in its shadow here. So this is the path of the October 14, 15 solar eclipse, yeah? So which means that yes, one thing you see, right? Generally, this will be the areas which are affected even more stronger in terms of the themes. But of course, because it's a worldwide global phenomenon, it affects all of us, okay? And so for us, of course, like I said, it will be for Malaysia, Asia, Southeast Asia, it will be in the middle of the night itself. We are, in fact, more affected with the lunar eclipse. So this is the path of the solar eclipse, okay? Right? And then let's talk about its counterpart. So an eclipse will always happen in a pair. So first you have the eclipse that's associated with the new moon, then the one that's associated with the full moon. So this happens right at the end of the month, right? And the full moon lunar eclipse is actually, right, a heightened full moon. So that's the difference. While the solar eclipse is where we see the yang, because it's moon related energy, so it's covering the yang. That's why on the day of the eclipse as well, October 14, it's not auspicious for anything that has to do with the sun, which is our soul surviving on earth on the outward level, right? That means day-to-day work-related things, what we want to achieve and so on, right? So you don't make significant moves like signing a big contract and all that on the solar eclipse day, you wait for the day after it because you want to reset, then only you go. But of course, when it comes to meditation practices and all that, yes, right, it's very powerful for us. And when it comes to the theme of a month like October, transformation, then yes, the eclipse energy will directly help that as well. Okay, so now the lunar eclipse, on the other hand, is a heightened full moon, which means that the level of the yin energy in us, of the awareness, the intuition, and the growth, our soul learning lessons that are converted once we learn them, lessons that come from challenges, obstacles, how we experience life outwardly, right? Those are the lessons. When we overcome them, we learn them, and then they become wisdom. So that one is our yin soul purpose, okay, when we do that. So they both happen at the same time. So a full moon that is heightened as a lunar eclipse, right, is very powerful to trigger more awareness overall, yeah? So now this one is, the interesting about this is that even though it comes after the solar eclipse, this one is actually the energy that's related to the previous 18-month cycle. The previous 18 months, remember I was saying the eclipses happen in this 18-month cycle, right? The last 18-month cycle has been about, right, evaluating our core values, about what is it that reflect us authentically and what do not. What is it that really are meaningful to us and what do we find not meaningful? So these are our values, right? So these have shifted tremendously, especially when paying attention to energy overall, right, in the past 18 months. So this is the last part of it that nails it on the head. So it gives us, right, absolute clarity if we're in tune with ourselves, right, what we want and what we don't want. What experiences we want, what experiences that we do not want, what is meaningful to us and what is not meaningful to us. What do we find valuable as human beings, individual selves, compared to what we see out there or what other people, including our family, may find valuable, and it may be very different. So now this lunar eclipse, even though it's just a partial one, it shines a clarity on that, an absolute clarity by the end of the month, 28, 29, yeah? Then of course for this particular eclipse itself, then we have another layer that we can work on, and it's all interrelated already anyway, right? Which is about these values. This is about, then how do we reflect the values out? We reflect it out by our choices that we make in terms of how we present ourselves to the world, the skills, and how we lead our lives and careers, and then of course with the types of relationship that we form around us, right? So it shines a light on this, and of course the other one I was saying about day-to-day sensory experience. It's life rhythm overall, right? How do we use our five senses from a daily perspective? What is it that we would like to experience more of? What is it that we're already very sian about? Our senses are telling us, this is so boring, I don't want it anymore, right? So I want something new. So that's why this eclipse again supports transformation, but it's not transformation just for the heck of it, but it's for renewal. It's to renew. Renew some part of your day-to-day sensory experiences, which are then of course affected by the types of bonds and relationships that you have with the people around you. And then of course that is a reflection, as within so without, right, of your personal values. So transforming that, renewing that is the clarity that this particular partial lunar eclipse gives us, yeah? Now just for technical sake, so let's take a look. So again, the path of the eclipse will determine where and which parts of the globe, the planet, is highly affected by this. Yeah. So you can see that this one more related to Asia. Okay, you can see the path there going through, and Australia. Okay, the eastern side of the main, what do you call it, the main mass of planet Earth, right? Including, of course, Africa also. So the partial lunar eclipse crosses these paths directly. So that's why for us in Asia, and if you are out in Europe as well, I forgot to mention Europe, all the way to Africa, right? So it will be more of a culmination of what we have learned in the past 18 months. Whereas if you are in the United States, okay, here and here, right, it will be the start of what needs to be shaken up. So this again ties in very much greatly with the 2024 eclipses as well, which United States of America is sort of like the main area that's affected by it. So it's leading into it already, right? Whereas for the lunar eclipse, these parts of the world here is more of the lesson of the past 18 months. Okay, so that's that. And now, let's see, just going quickly before we get to some key reminders here. Elaine Law, like avocado, I think that was in relation to the solar eclipse. Okay, hi Elaine, and so on. Let me see on there. Yes, Carl is there. Carl, you're a Gemini, is it? Is that what you mean? Okay, so just some simple reminders here, right? So we need to take the opportunity to transform whatever that we need to burn away and get rid of, so that we can disintegrate it, incinerate it, right? Get rid of it totally, so that we can allow something new to come in, right? It could be one main aspect of your life that needs to go and shift. Remember, transformation means it must result in something. It cannot just disappear, right? So you're bringing it to something else. You're changing the shape, right? You're changing the nature of. So that's transformation. That's how transformation is change, but it's a specific type of change. You need to mold it into something else, okay? Because a change could just be growth, right, from one level to another, but it's not a transformation. So this is the month for last round of transformation for period 9, October only, okay? What can block us? Remember, I talked about that already. What does water mean to you? Water, emotions, fear, and so on. So, and then of course in relation to your day master itself, I spoke about that in that section. So if you missed it, just watch the replay lah, because this will be on my timeline and on all the shared cross-posted pages, timeline immediately once this session is done. Okay, take action. That's another one, right? You know there are some things which will hold you back from taking the action that you know you need to do deep down inside, right? How to get to this? Well, focus on heart energy. Heart energy is really, really the anchor for period 9, right? Because it's hollow, so we need to emphasize it. We need to make sure that we are in tune with our heart, the source of unconditional love, the part of us, our entire mind, body, and spirit that just knows what feels right. Not what feels comfortable, but what feels right. That is pure heart energy. So when you focus on it, you know, then take action instead of denying and throwing it and sweeping it under the rug, because it's not going to happen again for a gazillion years. This opportunity that lies within this year that again will not happen again in a gazillion years. The Kuei Mao year itself, very powerful. Okay, so I wish you the best in this journey. Okay, and of course, speaking of wishing everyone the best, you notice that we've been focusing more and more on using what we can do besides just understanding the mind, the human energy. That means taking our own initiative, right? To basically make changes and to crack things up. One of it is, of course, working with a physical vessel, our body itself, okay? We need to work with our body, not just the mind, but also the spirit, so that we can shake things up. And to shake things up, we need to break, we need to let go, we need to disrupt, we need to release, and all of that, yeah? So you notice that for us at Solar Trinity, we've been emphasizing more and more programs that allow us to do that, in addition to the 八字, the feng shui, and so on, which is basically already quite established, right? So now we need to take our own human luck, individual will, because the theme is again personal empowerment for the next 18 months, right? To do things like, practices like, right, talking and having discussion, doing body movement, and so on, right? Of which there are several layers, and you see that we roll more and more of this out. So besides just sound healing, which Jessie has already championed and led the championing of it for quite some time now. Okay, we're also talking about how we can use discussion, we can use breath work and so on, so that we can use these tools to further help in our agenda to shake things up, because we need to shake, break, and let go. That's the only way, right? So for guys specifically, this is always a big task, because generally we've got bigger egos. Okay, everybody has ego, but if we have to use a stereotype, right? So men have bigger egos. So a few months ago, I finally stood up to the challenge of leading the first men's circle. So now I have the second one, which is happening on 8th of October at 3 p.m. Okay, so please do join me. Please do join me if you are male, and if you are female, please do invite the man or men in your life, right, to do this session with me, right? It's very safe, right? It's very by whoever who is here with me, okay, that I will take it that way. So I'll keep everybody updated and along the same lines lah, okay? So using the body, mind, and spirit, working with the body, which means simple movement, breathing is part of it, right? Everybody breathes, but the technique, of course, makes a difference, right? Of course, mind means a lot of discussion. In fact, the majority of what we'll be doing is actually a discussion circle, and then, of course, we'll do one or two rituals as well to get the heat up and to have fire going for the next few months, which is basically cold. And the fire, of course, for this month itself will be the seed of transformation. Okay, so that's happening on the 8th of October. Please do join me, guys, okay, for this particular session. Then, of course, speaking of breath work, so next week as well, we're going to have the online version, okay, of this breath work that is led by Jolston Ng. He's been around behind the scenes and supporting the company and supporting Jessie for many, many years now. But now he's stepping into the forefront as a coach, transformational guide, and of course a breathwork master as well. So this is the online counterpart to our first trial of our in-person session that we had a couple of weeks ago, right? So this is happening on the following week, right, on 15th October at 2:30 p.m. This is an online breathwork, transformational breathwork program. So please do join this, especially if you couldn't make it to the physical session that we had a couple of months ago. Okay, sorry, a couple of weeks ago. So this is that. Hope to see you online. We're very excited about rolling all these programs out. Again, we're working with our body, overall our physical self, especially through breath and movement, to shake up the energy so that we can realign our chakras and also to welcome new energy. Yeah. At the same time, of course, this is the year, point of the year rather, that is about preparing for next year. And because next year comes in so fast by December, right? So this is a service that I offer every single year for the past few years already, because I truly believe that if you want to make breakthroughs in your personal self, number one, you got to basically master your breakthroughs in your personal Parts chart. And then, of course, what can help it is the will, because remember, this next 18 months will be about the power of our individual self and how empowered are we. Because the more empowered we are, the more we are able to tap into the magic of period 9, the immediacy of what period 9 energies with all the portals open to tap into. But to do that, we must be performing or functioning energetically at our level best. So the main tool to this, again, heaven, luck, is always the dominant one first, which is understanding our parts, right? So what is the difference between a normal parts reading, because you can just have a normal parts reading and you have your list of homework to do, right? Is that, of course, Parts Premium, which is the service I offer in limited slots every year, is about boosting your next step with annual feng shui. And annual feng shui as a feng shui method is immediate, is powerful, and especially suitable for period 9 for those particular reasons. So we work on specific activations to help you achieve or open up one learning lesson for you. It could be a breakthrough lesson, it could be the next step of what you need to reach for, but it's all personalized towards you from your Parts chart. So it's an extension of a standard Parts reading. So if you like to get a head start into it for the first portion of the year, right? So this one comes with 3 activations to push you into what you can do for the first half, because the starting few months of the year is the most powerful to establish the rest of the year, right? But of course, if you like more guidance for the second half of the year, then this comes with another mid-year review session and 2 further activations to follow through with the year as well in the months of autumn, and also usually it's autumn and a little bit of winter lah. Okay, so both are available now, and this is something that I can only offer very few slots to because it's personalized. My focus and attention due for this individual client is fully there, right? So that they can master themselves with the 八字 standard 八字 key life lessons, etc. Tailored to the year, tailored of course to the start of period 8 in the terms of 2024, and then using annual feng shui activations to boost the next step or to bring it up faster, so this person, the client, can make the breakthroughs ASAP, or the advantages for the year. It depends. The more prepared the person is, the more it will be less about breakthroughs. It will be more about what can I to speed up for that particular year, the goodies that come with the year itself. Okay, so 八字 Premium is here for annual subscription for 2024 if you like to look into it. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. You're welcome, Janice. Okay, oh wow. Extra background, very courtesy of Nicole. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Speaking of, oh wow. Okay. Ziyi, thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Happy birthday to you. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay. This is a nice surprise. To bring her up. Bring her up. We bring our neglecting our daughter and son, right? All today. Okay, thank you, Coco. Coco is this girl here, and she loves birthdays. It's a favorite occasion, no matter whose. Right? Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, she
She wants the cake more.
wants the cake more. Okay, then Mocha is here. Thank you so much. Oh,
Hi everyone.
thank you, darling. Right. This is a surprise.
Okay, blow.
Thank you so much. This is so awesome. Okay, I got it.
It's not easy to plan all this.
Okay, I got it. Okay. This is a wish for everyone, right? Okay. So
Wishing everyone's rebirthday.
yes,
Yeah.
rebirth, transform what you need to transform. This is Mocha. Okay, Mocha's so cute.
Okay, I think you have to
Okay.
say
Okay.
thank you to everyone.
Right, okay. Coco? Oh, Coco's distracted by the cake. Okay. So this is our fur babies. Right. Thank you, John Lin. Thank you, Waylon, everyone. This is so awesome, yeah. Just so happens,
you have to thank. The cake is not from me, it's from our sponsor, Jennifer Yap.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer Yap. Thank you, J Group.
Yeah, she's in Norway now, and
Yes,
yet she
right.
arranged all this.
Right, that's really awesome. Okay, and thank you, everyone. This is a meaningful one. You're welcome, Angel. Right, Elaine, Zilu. Zilu is laughing. Right, so I didn't expect this because we had small plans because it's so busy, right? We have this
Where got people do Facebook Live on his birthday one? This fella?
Yeah, but there was there was no other time to do it. And then of course we have our travels and so on that we're preparing for as well, right? Yeah, very sweet, right? Thank you, darling.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so thanks everyone. Thank you. This is truly meaningful and truly speaking of rebirth, right? So I really hope that in your own way, in your own circumstances, right? And it could be an entire rebirth that you need. It could be a complete transformative experience that you need to go through lah. Now, of course, transformation, I didn't specifically say it is not comfortable. It's tough, it's hard, it's very challenging, it can be painful, right? So, but whatever it is, I hope that you will go through whatever that is necessary for you so that you don't waste the year, you don't waste especially the exciting period 9 that's coming up very, very soon, okay? So all the best to you, right? And thank you so much for being here with me live, right? And watching post live also. So thanks, right? So yes, Jenny, Yanyi, Zilu, Elaine, right? Thank you so much for your wishes and everyone here. I may have missed your name because we scrolled away already, Chichi and all that, okay? Angel. Alright, thank you. This is the outlook for October Water Dog Month. And again, if you feel that the people around you need a bit of a reminder or a bit of a kick into what they need to work on, right? Please do share this forecast on your Facebook timeline. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Wei Ling also. Okay, thanks everyone. So time for me to wrap this up. Right on the hour. I appreciate your energy and shared with me today. All the best for October lah. All right, the Water Dog Month. All right.
She wants the cake.
She wants the cake.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks.